So as I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, RELL hasn't dropped an update in a while, but we finally got one. And I'm pretty sure the reason they've been relatively quiet is they've been testing the game for a while now, so I'm pretty sure they're very focused on that and not really as focused with giving us updates at this point in time. But with what they just said, that might be changing, so let me actually show you guys what they said. So RELL pinged everyone and said, nearing a month into closed testing, today's the 21st day since closed testing has begun. And for those that don't know what the closed testing phase is, it's essentially like the actual RELL brothers testing and some of their friends on the RELL team and whatnot. If we actually go to the RELL group, we can see there's a RELL testers rank and a normal tester. I'm pretty sure it's only the RELL testers and the staff that's testing, so about like 10 to 12 people currently. And I'm pretty sure the whole point of them doing that is to essentially make sure things don't get leaked, because obviously they don't want the game to get leaked when it's in a bad state, and also just remove the game breaking bugs. I'm assuming when the actual testers play the game, it will probably still be pretty buggy, but it won't be like completely unplayable like it might be right now. Or I mean, they are 21 days in, so maybe it's even actually playable now, but you get my point. But let me actually talk about the information they gave us with this message and also go over the videos that they dropped. So RELL said in the 21-day period since they started testing, they've overhauled and reworked the entire combat system and flatlined a lot of bugs within its mechanics. He said they improved and animated the entire UI system. He said they finalized and cleaned up the crafting and material system. He said they made an event system, and then he put in parentheses mission events. I'm not exactly sure what that is. My guess is that's either like PvP events, something similar to like what Type Soul had, or maybe even PvE events like raids and stuff like that. Either way though, that definitely does sound like kind of a big deal. There's also a possibility he's talking about some sort of raid boss system or world boss system, but definitely let me know what you guys think about that, because that's really open-ended and they haven't said much about it, I don't believe. But then what's actually a pretty big deal is in this 21-day period, he said they did boss mechanics, system attack patterns, over 32 mesh deform bosses completed, and then that will be 40 once the Sea Kings are also finished. And then he clarified that puts the game at 82 bosses in total, not including all the mobs, but that's just the bosses themselves, which is actually ridiculous. A lot of games on the platform don't even have one mesh boss in the game, so to have 40 mesh bosses is actually insane. And for those of you guys that don't know what a mesh boss is, it's essentially like a custom 3D model compared to a normal Roblox model. So for example, like they said, the big fish Sea Kings, those are mesh bosses, and things like even the Brogy model, that is also a mesh boss. And the reason you usually see a lot less mesh bosses in games compared to normal bosses that are Roblox models is because it's a lot harder to actually make a mesh boss. You have to get the model, then you have to animate every specific part of the model. It's a lot more work compared to a normal boss. Now in my personal opinion, I think mesh boss fights are way cooler and way funner. The bosses are usually bigger and their attacks are usually a lot cooler. So knowing we're gonna have 40 different mesh bosses to fight is actually insane news in my opinion. And we're also gonna have 42 normal Roblox bosses, so we're not missing anything there as well. If it wasn't already obvious that the amount of content on release would be insane, it's definitely obvious now. And then RELL gave us another message. He said fundamentally a lot has changed. RELL's combat system went from slow paced to nearing fast paced and seamless playstyle. And then he said some really good news for us. He said while we were tempted in making a development videos for feedback, which one is coming in the near future, we are pleased with finalizing the current product of our creation. We are beginning testing on all games ability content soon, fruits, weapons, etc. And this also brings me back to about a week ago where he put an image of his armor and then also said devlog 3 ? So it looks like the next video isn't going to be movie 2, but it will be devlog 3. Now they did say coming in the near future, so I'm hoping that means within 1 to 2 weeks, but you really never know, I'm not gonna lie. Now I also want to talk about what they've said for combat. They said the combat went from slow paced to fast paced and seamless, or my fault, they said nearing fast paced, but regardless, me personally, I like faster paced combat. I feel like most people do. So although I definitely can't say too much because we really haven't seen that much of the new combat, I'm definitely leaning towards being happy with having faster paced combat. But now we can finally get to the videos. Now the first video they dropped actually looks like it's an Impel Down, and it's really just RELL beating up on RELL Aiden, the classic. I mean, we've seen this a million times. He even tried to avoid getting screenshotted this time by all F4, but they still got him. I feel bad at this point. But then we got a different video that shows off a few animations, and you could also see a sea beast that wasn't intentionally there. He actually clarified that it wasn't supposed to be there, but he's just there to show off the animations and I guess the clothing. Unless I'm missing something else and there's another thing there, but that's my understanding of it. But then they showed us the new copyright-free Broy Rework. I guess use this as a reference for what the changes will most likely look like for the other bosses as well. It does kind of suck to see, I'm not gonna lie. I wish it was a little closer to what Brogy actually initially looked like. It's not that big a deal, but it does kind of suck. But at the same time, the model still does look very good, if not better than the previous one. It just doesn't look like Brogy, if if y'all feel what I'm saying, but I understand they're not trying to play with the copyright. They don't want to get the game taken down. Now, they also showed some Jack Sparrow armor, and I'm not gonna lie, I know people are gonna complain and be like, it's not One Piece, why are they adding Jack Sparrow? But I really don't feel like it's that big a deal. I don't understand why anyone would really care that much. But then they also confirmed something pretty big, which is CC group factions. For those of you guys that don't know, there's gonna be a CC phase before release, which is essentially closed community where certain people are gonna be able to play and test the game out essentially before public release. But as you guys can see, you got the Arms of Revolution, which I'm assuming is the Revolutionary Army. You got the Council of Piracy, which is the pirates, I'm assuming, and the World Realm, which is I am assuming is the world government or the Marines. But what I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking or hoping for is that all of this is essentially meaning the game is closer to release or a release date. And to be honest, we'll really just have to wait and see, but I will keep you guys updated if they say anything about Devlog 3 or Movie 2 or any new news in general. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and also comment W SwiftDFG or something like that. I don't know, but I appreciate y'all for watching. Love y'all. Later.